Hey everyone, welcome back to AI Chatter episode 10, officially double digits. Today we talk about AI failures with Amazon and some AI success with the masters and that special little green coat they win. Let's chat AI. I already know people are going to be mad at me that I called it a little green coat and not the green jacket, but sorry, green jacket. I'm going to correct that.
Blazer,
Uh,
isn't it a blazer?
it is. It's more like a blazer. Yeah. But
Hmm.
so what I'm going to do this time with you guys. So instead of intros, I got two quick questions for you, for each of you. Now they're going to be right off the cuff. You're going to be put on the spot. You love that. It's your favorite. I'm going to start off with you, Marty. And this is a
Oh
tough one. Who is the most influential person outside of your family who's had the biggest impact on your career success?
man. Oh man. Um, Probably one of my former bosses who actually has the same first name as me. His name was Marty. And so he went by Marty E. I was Marty G. And he was the first guy who gave me a management position in my old job, in my old career at USAA. And he really just took me under his wing, mentored me greatly, helped me learn leadership outside of the military and what
Mm.
it means to lead people without a rank on your shoulder. And one of the smartest people I've ever met. We always teased him. He would carry a notebook around but never write anything in it because he literally remembered everything. And he just did it for show to carry that thing around and was really a master of talking to people and figuring out what their pain points were, what their problems were, and then not overcomplicating a solution, but bringing the right solution to bear. So, Marty
I like
Ellingsworth, shout
I
out to
like
him.
it. Someday I want to we're gonna dive into what the differences were of like leadership in military to now doing leadership and more of outside the military and kind of civilian life.
Two
Not today,
words:
someday.
push-ups.
Push-ups. All right, Marty, you're not gonna get off easy and have the same question and now have more time to think about it. So I'm
Oh,
changing
yeah.
your question.
Okay.
What was a pivotal moment in your career and who was the key figure involved that helped steer you in that direction? Pivotal moment in your career. And we're going to sit here silently until you
Yeah. Okay. All right. So at when I had my run with small tech companies, when I became finally completely burned out at the end, um, I I realized that you're supposed to, and it's the passion shouldn't just be work. It's got to also be not work. And so my buddy Estevan invited me out to San Diego to start to, he goes, let's go surfing. And so as far as a moment, a pivotal moment in my career was when I started at 40 getting in the water and doing something that scared the hell out of me. And, it still to this day scares the hell out of me. And, that taught me a lot, and one of those things is like when the sets are coming and pounding you, just go with the flow. Like don't try to fight it. You're not going to beat it. Right. And so like that little lesson among many, many other lessons is one of those things that got me through the COVID times, when I didn't travel and do the stuff that I used to do. So, that pivotal moment is probably suffering through learning how to surf at age 40.
I like that. Someday we'll do an AI chatter on the waves in the like
I
on
got my
hold.
GoPro. We could go try to do it. Gotta paddle out and not get my microphone wet.
I like it. So all right, let's dive into the topics. First one, obviously, is the AI fail of the week, and I wanted to be like, we could call it that and have a little buzzer, like, But Amazon, with their just walkout technology, which was supposed to streamline operations and remove the need for human cashiers, has pretty much completely failed, and they're going away from it. If anybody didn't see, we'll put the article down in the description, but they discovered that it actually required significant human intervention and was deemed too slow and costly. So, what's your guys' take on that? Like, what did Amazon do wrong? Or just why don't we start with what your take is in general?
Well,
Okay, so
I mean, they
this is a
lied.
problem. Go ahead, Marty. You get to go
No,
first.
they lied. I mean, it's as simple as that. They this is what's so frustrating about the scientific field is when you lie about something, be it cold fusion at room temperature or whatever, people are going to figure it out. I mean, the whole point of the scientific method is to duplicate or brag about what you did and show it factually, and they just outright lied.
I mean, that's something of the open source world, keeps you. It does keep you honest in that way, right? Like if you don't open source your model, I mean, there's really no guarantee that ChatGPT and OpenAI doesn't have some people back there answering. Like it is effectively that, could be that, right? No, seriously, this has been around for a while. There were chatbot companies early on. This is like 7-8 years ago. Chatbot companies that were specific to certain industries that, again, they promised these super sophisticated, reasonably specific responses, and they had humans behind the scenes that were prompting this. Now, it makes some sense. This is like real time labeling, right?
Yeah.
I guess Marty is what we'd call this, but
Mhm.
it makes sense to start your task that way. But at some point, to be truly honest, you have to have the tool,
Look,
hands off, right?
what they did, I have no problem with what they did. They just deceived everyone to say it was AI.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I read an article on LinkedIn that redefined AI. And it's a little tongue in cheek, but the guy on the article said it's still AI. It just stands for All India. And that's what it was. They farmed out the cashiers. Instead of having them on site, they had them offshore. And
Yeah.
again, you can't fault the business. Maybe it was cheaper that way. Maybe it was quicker, more effective, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is you said it was AI and led everyone to believe that AI stands for artificial intelligence or computer vision in this case. And it clearly wasn't. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah. I was wondering.
Economics.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. Well, a lot of this is an economics, labor capital problem, and we're shifting away from humans to do certain, admittedly that's a fairly low skilled activity, but as you jack up like in the state of California, for instance, and the minimum wage is pushing $20 an hour, it starts pushing you to think about more creative ways to reduce labor usage. And so, it kind of, you're just kind of shifting the labor to India, like that's basically what's going
Not
on.
kind of, that's exactly what you've done. You've
watched,
shifted the labor to India.
the other day at Whole Foods, they just recently put in like a slice your own bread machine, right? And I'm like, this is starting to feel like I would have to take the bread out and like put it in there, and they do it themselves, and it comes back. It was just another example of reducing the number of human hours because the cost of labor is so darn high, right, in certain places. It, again, there's like some positive part where it's forcing some innovation, but it's stupid innovation, right? Like it reminds me a little of, I mean, I'm probably going to get canceled for this one, like some of the nonsensical activity around solar power and electric vehicles and all this other stuff where,
what does it cost to make it?
The cost is it's only becoming economically sensible because the regulations are absurd.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so Ken, I wonder with Whole Foods if they did the cost benefit analysis of the lost fingers of customers who don't do this properly. I mean, I'm waiting for the class action lawsuit to come out.
I kicked back up my keto and I passed on bread this week. I'm not kidding.
They know most of the people going to Whole Foods are like they're getting the gluten-free bread out of the freezer. Like it's just I get to say that because I do like Whole Foods, but
But labeling, look, like the problem of labeling is real.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies that specialize in labeling,
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with. We've even done some projects involving human labeling.
Yep.
But at some point you have to cut the cord.
And it makes you wonder if that was Amazon's goal here all along, that they just created a ginormous database of
yeah.
human labeled grocery items. And maybe the next step is they're going to use that or sell it and train a computer vision model. Could very well be.
But that's the like I didn't see any article that stated it this like if they did this right away and had these humans in the back working this doing all the whatever they need to do to make it work, or if it was they started doing it as actual AI and they kept running into people like reporting, oh, like I was charged too much, and then they had to have a human go look back and watch the tapes to verify. So then it got to the point where they were like, it's more cost effective just to have a human watching at all times to make sure this
Yeah.
is right. Like that's my guess is what happened. And then eventually it's like, well, this does not make any sense cost wise.
Did they? Does this also kill the just walk out convenience that they're putting in airports? Did it mention that one? Like,
No, because
I,
that's more reasonable. Like it's a limited
fewer
select product
things.
And
and
don't you
thing.
have to scan it before you walk out? I thought you actually, it's kind of like a self checkout. I didn't think
It's
they have full on walkouts now.
You have to have a credit card. You put a credit card in, but I think you touch a credit card on your way in. I
Gotcha.
believe.
Okay.
I used it once. I think I don't know how much it charged me. Probably a lot, but
Didn't even
thanks.
look at what it took.
You know,
So what would you curious on the last question on the Amazon front? Like, what would you guys do differently, or even like if we were brought in by Amazon as consultants to help fix this problem of what they've created? Is there something that can be done, or what would you guys suggest or even do?
I mean, those guys are pretty. What would I do? Marty, any thoughts? I don't know. Have
I mean,
anything
I'd
immediately.
want to look I'd hope and pray they labeled, they were actually labeling while they were doing this. And then I'd kick off a giant computer vision project, because if you have that many, I think the article said like 1,000 offshore people, and you've got that much data. I mean, God, I hope they save that, because that's a treasure trove, and then use it. That's Ken was alluding to. We worked on a project. It wasn't computer vision; it was text labeling, but we had to label complaints, and we got, I think, like 500 or 600 labeled examples. And based on that very small set, we were getting close to like 75% accuracy on unseen data. I mean, if they have hundreds of thousands or millions of examples, granted, there's a lot more items in the store, but I bet you they could build some pretty accurate models to do this kind of stuff. And they have different angles, they have all this other stuff. So it's probably a really robust data set.
Yeah, if this feels like a goofy moonshot dump, like goofy moonshot idea. You see, like if this was a good idea, Kroger would have done this a long time ago. They have their costs associated with labor in stores is many multiples the size of Amazon. So I think Amazon was just messing around, and somebody pitched an idea and it got pushed.
I also think there's a point where it's like, how much human interaction are we taking out of our day to day to get to a point where we just become even more terrible at interacting? Like,
I
let's.
mean, just give everybody a scanner in the store. I mean, it's silly idea from the beginning,
I also
right?
thought that they could just like similar to the airport, they're simplifying it by making less products. Like there is a part of like, oh well, if you made it either less products or had the products certain colors for certain things or colors meaning certain prices, like
Mm-hmm.
then you can make it a lot simpler so that you're not running into as many issues overall. I feel like there's so many different ways they could go about it. I'm kind of shocked they just gave up on it. But
Maybe they want us to think they gave up on it, but they
True.
still have those folks
I
employed
mean,
offshore.
my guess is those people are going to be redirected and turned into using, maybe supplementing the bedrock and their ability to, you know, it'll give really specific examples and answers going forward.
Exactly. So now let's dive into what I see as AI success, but I'm also just a big fan of the Masters overall. The Masters partnered with IBM and their Watson X generative AI functions to kind of really create some, I thought, some pretty neat use cases around Gen AI and the Masters. But then on top of that, I just the Masters is to me the greatest sporting event execution from an actual, like, putting it out there and live, and like how everything they do with it is just amazing. So I'm impressed that when they even already took the leap to go, let's do some generative AI stuff in our live broadcasting is just amazing, and it worked really well. We're filming this so everybody knows on Friday while they're still playing right now, so I can't say who the winner was when this comes out. The winner will have won by Monday when this comes out, but curious on your guys' thoughts on those articles in regards to the Masters and what they're doing around Gen AI.
I mean, one of the uses, right, is this broadcast specific to every player, right? That's kind of one of them. Is that right, Mitchell?
Yeah.
Um, and that's a pretty great use of this tool. You know, I worked with it's like, I think it was ESPN close to 15 years ago, and they were playing with video and identifying. This is back long. This is ages ago in this world, right? But like identifying what teams are playing, what number it was. They pretty from that point could do computer vision on a player, and then automatically flash up their statistics at the bottom of the screen, and then basically have broadcasterless broadcasts going on all the time. Great, because most of the time, like a B3 soccer match, you wouldn't have a broadcaster for, but instead you could just put it on in a loud bar and it would look like there was a broadcast going on.
Mm.
And having like player specific broadcasts is pretty neat, right? Like folks that are not going to make the cut are going to have their own little announcer.
Yeah.
Neat idea.
I liked there was something they talked about where they can tell the probability of the next shot maybe getting to the green or something like that from where it lies. But what I found interesting is their data source. So they use past performance, right? So before I read it quickly and I thought, man, if they're using me, if I play at Augusta, I pay my way in, I don't make it into the Masters as an example, that's bad data. But it pretty clearly said they were using historical Masters data. But I think there's an issue there because, I mean, every year I'm not a golf fanatic, so I don't know as much about it as you do, Mitchell, but I figure weather is a pretty major component, wind, conditions. So if you have some bad days in history and you're using that in your data set, it's going to influence, and I don't know what it's like in Georgia now, but it's probably very nice, right? Am I right? Is it Augusta, Georgia? Am I okay? Good. At least I got that part right. but that's the thing. They're making these predictions, and it could really kill your credibility if those things are way off based on bad data in the history of it. I'm just curious how that's going to work out for them.
Mitchell Freeze.
It looks like he did. Poor guy.
Yeah.
We stumped it. But I don't know.
No.
Ken, are you a golf fanatic? I mean, has there been a lot of variability in the data over?
I mean, these guys are so cool. To me, this is like the Amazon one. I'm not sure that the golf fans really enjoy watching the probabilities of where the ball's go. Like, oh, there's an 87% chance he's going to hit the green from here. I mean, granted, we could have done that, with math a long time ago, right? Like the generative AI stuff allows for the verbal, the instantaneous humanless translation, the humanless broadcast. I mean, that's some of the most expensive parts of doing these live broadcasts are these announcers, especially when they have big names associated with it.
Yeah.
So there's nothing I like better than putting taking that cost away, right? Mitchell, you back with us?
Kind of.
Yeah, no. You know what? We need some generative AI, and we should just put his.
Well, so they said they're translating it into Spanish. Is that the only language?
Seems like you should just do it for all of them, right?
Exactly. Well, I wonder why they limited themselves to Spanish.
I mean, it kind of makes me want to have maybe my own daily and then an announcer that just kind of just hangs out and announces all my day.
Be on reality TV 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody can have their own story. Woke up this morning and brewed some coffee, stared at the waves, got sucked over the falls a couple times, took meetings. Mitchell, you back? Nope.
All right. Well,
we're going to wrap it up. Okay, so
I think I'll wrap us up. Well, as always, folks, if you got any comments, leave them down below. We'd love to chat. If you want to dial us up, you can hit us up on LinkedIn or just directly in the comments, and we'd love to chat. Otherwise, we will see you in a week, and enjoy the Masters. It's going to be great. Bye, everyone.
I think we're back. Bye, everyone.